Okay. So I welcome everyone for the class. So in the last class, we were discussing about HTML. Let's continue with it. So in the last class, we discussed about the semantic part of HTML. What is semantic markup? What are the advantages of it? So today, let's continue with the structure of HTML, where we saw simple HTML document, how it looks like. Some of the basic tags we discussed. So now let's go to the quick tour of HTML. So now what we are discussing is related to the version 5, which is HTML5. So HTML5 contains many structural and presentation elements. So we won't be covering all those topics because all the tags can't be studied. Too many elements are there. So important ones we will discuss. So HTML5 as structural as well as presentation elements, we will discuss that. Okay, we will provide an overview of those elements, most commonly used elements. So this is a sample document shown here. So on the right side, the view of the document in a browser, you have got a view of the document in the browser. On the left side, the code is given where you can see a lot of tags like body tag, H1, H2, paragraph tag, then A tag, anchor tag, strong tag. So then again, IMG image tag to include an image. An image is there to include an image. Then H3 tag, div tag. So paragraph tags and closing body tag. So many tags are there which are commonly used like body, header tag from H1 to H6. 6 levels of heading is supported, H1 to H6. And P paragraph, the most widely used tag, followed by div tag. These are some of the tags that we will study in this chapter. So first, let's go for heading. So HTML provides 6 levels of heading: H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. So higher number indicating a heading of less importance. So higher heading means H1. Higher heading with a higher heading number indicating a heading of less importance. So that means you can have something like, so H1, H2, H3, H6 is of less importance compared to H5. So H1 is an heading with actually of more importance. So higher the number, like H5 or H6, less importance compared to H1 or H2. So highest level of heading is H1 and the lowest level of heading is H6. So headings are essential for document authors used to show their readers the structure of the document. They are used to show the structure of the document. So for example, headings should be used to give the semantic meaning to the document. So rather than using it in a order. So if you see here on the right side, if you say that term paper outline, which is the heading, that is of more importance. The heading, that is the reason why it is given the heading H1. Next, introduction is the second level of heading, so it is given H2. Then background again H2, and then the next level comes previous research and unresolved issues, which again comes under H3. If you see here, this is the output. So based on the hierarchy, we can select the heading should be selected. So note the point that the browser has its own default settings for each heading level. Okay, that means what is the font size or the color of the heading H1? That depends on from one browser to another browser. So H1, if I give an heading welcome H1, so then it may have a font size of 20 and black on Firefox, or it may change to font size 18 and some other color green in your Chrome browser. So the point here is every browser will have a default styling for each heading level. It has a default styling means font size, font family, font color, all these things are set by default by the browser. Okay. So if you really want to modify the default settings of the browser, so this can be customized, this can be modified by using a language known as CSS, which is Cascading Style Sheet Language. So in the coming chapter, we will discuss CSS, where we can modify the default settings of the heading, as well as style of a document can be precisely specified using CSS. So now we understood the difference from H1 to H level. If you want to see, and note the point that in heading, specific heading level that is semantically accurate. So that means always use an heading to specify the heading level which is semantically accurate. You should never choose the heading level because of its default presentation. So that means never choose, like use an heading H3 because it will be displayed in bold or 16 point. That is not correct. In your document, if you are using a text that is in the third level of hierarchy, so use it as H3. That is what semantically accurate is. So assume I have three headings, heading, subheading, and one more subheading below that subheading. So heading, subheading, subheading, assume. So then for the main heading, I may use the header level H1. For subheading, I may use the header H2. And for subheading, I may use H3. So that is most accurate way of using semantically using an heading. So never try to use an heading, because if I use H6, it will display in a font size bold and 12. Don't use H1 because it displays heading in font size 20. That is not correct, because every browser has a default setting. So that is not technically correct, because that is we should always select a heading that is semantically accurate. Semantically means the meaning. In a document, we have different level of heading. According to the meaning of the heading, we should select the heading. Okay. So that is the important point you need to know. So you can type different heading levels. So and see it. So the H1 will be highest level of heading and H6 is the lowest level of heading. You can type a document, use H1, give something heading 1, close the H1. Similarly, give H2, some text like that H1 to H6 and open in a browser, you will come to know. So usually the larger font size will be in H1, whereas less font size will be in H6. Okay, but that is how there are 6 different levels of heading. So when you select heading, so select a heading to be semantically accurate. Okay, not because of font size or whether it is bold or so. You should never select an heading. So next comes the P tag. So the P tag is what? Paragraph tag. That is the most basic unit of text in an HTML document that contains HTML and other inline elements. Usually paragraph contains a paragraph of text, or it may contain some other elements within, because we saw that in the previous class we can embed one element in another element. That means if we are having a paragraph tag, we can have other inline HTML. We will see what is inline elements. Other inline HTML elements can be embedded within paragraph tag. Okay. So inline elements refers to elements that does not cause a paragraph break, but are part of regular flow of text. That means inline elements means that will not cause a paragraph break. Such elements are known as inline elements. So that's what the paragraph tag does, which is the most commonly used tag. So note that all these tags, whether you use heading tag or whether you use paragraph tag, for every tag there is opening and a closing tag. So that means if you are using something like heading like this, you should use H1. So some text, so some welcome, you can give it, and finally you should close the heading tag. So this is the syntax of it. So H1 opening here, closing tag. So this is the content. Similarly, if you are having a paragraph, so opening paragraph tag, some text you can type, whatever text you can type it. So in one or more lines, Then finally, you need to close the paragraph. So here, so what does this? This may contain text. This may contain some other inline element. Inline tags may be present there. So note that for all the tags that we are discussing, so there will be opening as well as closing tag. So once we open it, so finally we should close the given tag. So next is, so div tag. So div tag is also a container element that is used to create logical group of content. Say div is division. So div tag is used to, not physically, it is used to logically grouping of a content or grouping of elements. Say, you may wonder what is this used for. So div tag does not do anything physical presentation. So it doesn't have any intrinsic presentation. That means if you have a heading tag like H1, it may have some font size and it may be bold. But when we use div, we don't have any intrinsic presentation, but only to divide the given content, logically we use div tag. So the point here is, so when we use CSS cascading style sheet to style, so when we want to give a style using CSS, div element will be useful. So for example, if you are not clear, I might create, so 3 divisions. I might create 3 divisions. So div 1, within div 1, I might have paragraph 1. Within div 2, I may have paragraph 2. Within div 3, I may have paragraph 3. 3 paragraphs present in 3 different divisions. So that means we have 3 paragraphs. We could have treated them as a single content. But here 3 paragraphs are enclosed in 3 div elements. The reason here is I want to make the paragraph 1 to be displayed in red, the paragraph 2 to be displayed in blue, and paragraph 3 to be displayed in yellow. How do you do that? So if you use a P tag, then it will be difficult using CSS to apply this style like coloring. So, but if we use a div, I can give 3 different IDs. You will see when we use the div tag, there is an attribute known as ID, where each division can be identified by an identifier using the attribute ID attribute. So that means if I create 3 paragraphs using 3 div elements, so then using CSS, I can give 3 different style or color to 3 different paragraphs. So that's how you want to, div itself has no intrinsic presentation, but div, so used to logically group a element. Keep that in mind when you want to logically group a element. A web document may have 10 elements. I want to divide these 10 elements into 3 groups. So first 4 elements in one group, second 4 elements in one group, and last 2 elements in one group. So that means I'll be using 3 div tags to create, to logically group into 3 different groups. Okay, so that's what div tag is used to logically grouping a content or grouping elements. So when we go for CSS, so when you want to give style by grouping elements, so div tag will be used. Of course, div tag will have a attribute, okay, and value. Attribute means property. Value will be assigned to a property. That can be done. One example of div is, one attribute for div is ID. So where unique identifier is assigned for that division. So that we will see in the coming slide. So using, so HTML5 has a variety of new semantic elements which we'll examine later. So right now we are not discussing semantic elements. That means elements that give meaning to your document. What your document, what kind of document your HTML document is, that meaning can be given by using some semantic elements provided by HTML5. Okay, so which can be used to reduce mass of div within divs. That means embedding divs within another div is also possible, which is very much confusing. So that can be prevented by using some semantic elements, which we'll discuss in the coming slide. So next is link slide. See, the very essence of web is linking documents. So the web consists of hyperlinks. Okay, as I told you in the very first class, web is an information system, the collection of documents where the documents may be text, images, audio, video, animation. So such documents are distributed all over the internet and they are interlinked with one another. That means a text in one document may point to an image in another document, or a text in one document may point to audio or a video in another document. But how do you link from one document to another document? How do you link from one text document to a video, which is another document? See, when I take a document, don't assume it should be only HTML. So a document consists of text, it consists of animation, audio, video, images, anything. Okay, or it can be text in various formats like PDF, Word, or other formats. So now how do you create links? So links can be created in various ways. One way of creating link is using a tag, which stands for anchor tag. So a is an anchor tag. So and a link can be created using anchor tag. So now, what does the link consist of? Link consists of two main parts, the destination and the label. So the destination and the label means destination will tell you to which document, which destination should we, so user clicks a button or a mouse over the given link. So what is the action taken? Which document should I go to? That is destination. And label. Label will tell you the label that should be displayed in your document in the browser. In your browser, what is the information that should be displayed? So now let us see with an example here. A anchor tag, note that angle bracket A is there, closing is done here, closing the opening anchor tag is done here, the other angle bracket for A is here. So A, then as I told you earlier, HTML tags, not only I will have a tag name, A is a tag name. Now we are having an attribute and value. So what is href? Href is a reserved word. You can't type any name there. Href is attribute, which stands for hyperlink reference. Then www.centralpark.com along with the HTTP protocol should be clearly specified. See, the reason here is we will see what are the different relative and absolute references we can do. We can use it. So since you are referring to a page outside your website, so then clearly you should include the complete URL along with the protocol HTTP. So not necessary that it should be only HTTP. So point is, if you are transferring a file, when you click on a file should be downloaded. Assume. So download book is actually a label. When you click on that download label book, immediately using FTP, you may transfer from a website, a PDF file may be downloaded. So at that time, you might use here FTP, the name of the website. Okay. Anyway, this is what the destination is. That means when you click on the link, this is the destination, this is the website to which it will take you. Then what is the label? That means this is not visible to you, this is not visible in a browser. When you display in a browser, what is the label? You get it as Central Park. So Central Park is the text that is displayed, that is the label. So in this case, the label is text. See, not necessary that label should be only text. So for example, there may be an image. A label can also be an image. When you click on an image, it may take you a new site. So that's why don't get confused. Label need not be text. Label can be image, video, or other things also. So in this case, the label is text. Okay, which stands for Central Park. So this is the label. So now you understood. And finally, after this label is there within the opening anchor tag and closing a tag. So here we have closed the anchor tag. So hope you understood. So this is the another example. So second example is here a tag, h reference index.html. So that means the destination given is index.html. So note the difference here. Here complete URL is there, a website name is given along with the protocol HTTP. Whereas here, so it is index.html, which is actually a kind of referencing known as relative addressing. That means index.html means when you click on this link, it will open it will go to the destination index.html, which is in the current directory. So wherever the server documents are stored in the same directory, it will go and fetch the index.html. Whereas the above link is an absolute reference where it will take to some other site. That's why complete URL along with the protocol should be specified. So now see the second one. This second part, what you are seeing here is, again one more tag. I will come to this. This is IMG tag. IMG is one more tag. See, with this anchor tag, that's what I told you, elements can be embedded with another element. Here anchor tag is an element, opening anchor tag, closing anchor tag. Within that, instead of text, we are having an image. So we are having, as I told you, label can be image also, or audio or video also. Here label is an image. But how do you place an image? To place an image, I am using another tag in HTML known as IMG. So IMG is a tag. So where the attribute is given as src is equal to logo.gif. Okay, that says that, so your image that should be included is logo.gif. So you may ask, logo.gif is an image, GIF image, okay, graphic interchange format. But where is this logo.gif present? This is again relative addressing, where the image is present in the same directory where all the documents, where the server stores all the documents, which you call it as document root. Okay, we will come to that. So the document root is actually a directory or a folder maintained by a web server. Okay, maintained by a web server. So on every web server, depending on the operating system, has its own directory. So that means Apache server running on Linux has its own directory like var www.html. So Apache running on Windows may have a different location because Windows file system is different from a Linux file system. So the path where actually the default all servable documents are stored, so such a folder or a directory is known as document root. So who actually knows that? A web server knows it. And document root, okay, document root, so will be decided by the administrator. There will be default document root, okay, which can be decided by the administrator, and if you want, you can modify it. Keep that in mind. If you're not clear, let me tell you. Let me make you clear. So now let us assume there is a web server. Let us say this is a web server. So you may say, what is this web server? The web server is running, is Apache. Okay, Apache is the web server. As I told you in the earlier class, various web servers are there. Apache is the web server. Okay. So running on, assume it is running on Linux operating system, it is running on Linux operating system. Let us say CentOS is there. Now, what is this document root? The web server maintains its own folder. For example, Apache running on Linux like CentOS, the folder, the location is this, where www/html. So the point here is now client. What is a web client? So web client can be anything, your browser. A browser, your web client is nothing but a browser. Let us say that I am using the Firefox browser. So assume you type something, given a website name, domain name, you are asked for abc.html. So the point here is, so web client will request, get me the HTML file, it will ask. So based on the URL that you type in the URL window, it will ask abc.html. So now the point here is, what does the web server do? Web server will go to this directory. Which directory? Where www.html. This is root. Okay, root. In root there is where directory. In where there is a subfolder www. In that www there is a folder known as html. In this directory, it will go and search the abc.html and fetches it, and finally abc.html is sent. So that file, HTML file is sent. So now the point here is, the web server uses a folder. So this is the default folder for Apache server running on Linux. So especially running on a Linux, which version? The path may differ from one version of Linux to another. I am referring here to a Linux known as CentOS, which we'll be using for our lab, which stands for Community Enterprise Operating System, which is one flavor of Linux, similar to Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So now the where www.html, this is, what is this directory known as? So this directory where all the servable documents are stored are actually known as document root. So the root directory where actually all the such folder or such directory where all the servable documents are stored is known as document root. So document root is different for different web servers on different operating system, Apache, Linux. So assume I am using XAMPP or Apache on Windows. So on Windows, there may be C drive. In C drive, there may be folder httpd. In httpd, there may be some folder. So document root default. And you may ask, can I change this folder? Can the path be changed? Can I decide to make the document root to something? So I don't want this. I want to make this. Okay. So let us say I want to make where. In where directory, I want to give something dr file. I want to make in where directory, I want to create my own folder dr. That will be the document root. So can you do this? This is fine by default. You can also do this. But how do you change that? So you can change, or an administrator can change that by modifying the configuration file. Configuration, every web server will have a configuration file. We'll speak of configuration files and how to configure it when we go for lab. The configuration file decides the behavior of a server. Okay, you can go and change the modify the configuration file, and change the document root path can be modified. But by default, there will be a path which you can modify if you want. Okay, so now you understood the path. What is the document root? So now the point is, so this is absolute reference. It will take, when you click on this central link label, it will take to this site. But what happens here? So you have the image. Where is that image? The image is included by using img tag. Attribute is what? Source. So src is what? Attribute is equal to logo.gif. Now you may ask, where is logo.gif? That is a GIF image stored in the same document root. So the document root of the server, which is on the same machine where this web page is residing, logo.gif also resides. So that's why path is not given. When complete path is not given, So it is actually a relative reference. Okay, you don't need to give a machine. It will search on the local machine in the document root logo.zip that image. And again, here H reference is index.html. Again, this is an index.html. So that means when you click on the image, it will load index.html. Where is index.html located? No path is given. Again, it is located in document root directory. So hope you understood. So that's what links are created. Note the point. One way, there are different way of creating links. A tag or anchor tag is used to create. So opening anchor tag, closing anchor tag, then in between label, which can be text, image, or any kind of label can be added. But note that when you want to give a link using anchor tag, within the opening anchor tag, you should use H reference attribute is equal to the path or the file name. The link can be absolute or relative reference. Keep that in mind. It can be a coming slide will discuss the type of link, absolute reference or relative reference. So anyway, note that H reference will have a value. This is the value. Value is in quotes. So it can be in quotes or it can be unquoted, because in HTML file, for attribute value, quotation is not mandatory. You can use it or you can give without quotes. So now let us see types of link. In anchor element, what is the type of link we can create? So one is link to external site or to individual resource such as images, movies on an external site. So that means when you click the image, audio, video, movie or whatever resource may be present on some other site. Okay. So for example, I have a college website which you say, so how to pay the fees, see the video. I might place the video in YouTube. How to pay the fees using SBI. So I might create a link. When you click on that, the video how to pay using the internet banking, how to pay the fees. So it may take you to a YouTube video. So the point here is the link is SJCT site linking to YouTube. So that's an example for external site. So links to other pages or resources within the current site. So the point here is, so this is a link to external site and link to other pages or resources within the current site. So this is an example for link to resource within the current site. Okay. Links to other places within the current page. So this is also possible. See, not necessary that you try to see the difference between this. Let me make you clear. Let me clear the board. See, so this is what I am telling you. So one is linking. This is one document, one resource. Okay, this is another resource. So let us say document D1. So this is document D2. Okay. So now when you click on it, this may link to another. So now, so assume this is present on a website. This is present on a machine or a website running a website abc.com. So this may be another site, so which is pqr.com. So that means you are referring to a resource. So a hyperlink in D1 will point to an resource D2, which is located in another site pqr.com. So this is what you are linked to external site. Link to other pages or resources within the current site. So current site, for example, here there may be a link, okay, which point to another document xyz.jpg, a image. Assume this is a resource or a document JPEG, which is a image. So now try to see, this is located here. xyz.image and the document D1 both resides on abc.com. So D1 points to another image xyz that present on the same site or same machine abc.com. So that is an example for link to other pages or resources within the current site. So now let us see links to other places within the current page. Okay. Now the third example. Assume this document, the D1 document, let me write the document in clearly. So assume, so right now this is a document D2, which is a HTML document, probably multiple lines are there. So now, assume there is a link here. From this link, I want to go to a location to some other element within the same file D2. So within the document, I want to move from this location to this location. That means when you click on this link, hyperreference using anchor tag, this may take to some element. The document not necessarily should be 4 or 5 elements or 4 or 5 lines. A document, HTML document may consist of 50 pages. So the point is, from one part of the document, I am moving to another element in the document. So this actually is known as links to other places within the current page. Hope you understood. So the next is links to particular location on another page. So that is the same, similar to it. So where this may point to another site. So links to particular location on another page is also possible. That means I might have some page D4 or D3. So now this link may point to this location. So that means a link from document D2 may point to some element in document D3. They are presented with the same website, say same web site or machine, pqr.com. So this is the fourth way of specifying the link. So links to particular location on another page. Links that are instruction to the browser to start the user email program. Not necessary always a link should point to some other resource. See, keep in mind, a hyperlink that can be created using the anchor tag can invoke a program to run. For example, many times in a page, okay, you have a link to, so contact us. Contact us. When you click on the link, contact us, it may open a mail client like Outlook Express, where it will open a mail client where you can type the email, already email address of the destination is there. You type the contents and send. That means what actually the link is. The linking is opening or starting a user email program. That means I visit a web page. So in there is a contact us link. When I click on contact us link, it doesn't open an email program on the server. On my machine, what is the email program that will be opened? Okay. So that means links can be instruction to the browser to start a user email program, or links are instruction to the browser to execute a JavaScript function. That is also possible. That means keep that in mind. When you click on a link, there may be instruction to execute a program, JavaScript program itself, or a JavaScript program that contains a function. So what does it mean? So for example, you might have, so the point here is, you might want to do some calculation, like I will give 3 plus 5 is equal to, so assume 3 plus 5 is equal to, I want to calculate, I might have a calculate button. So you will enter 2 boxes, 3 plus 5 or 5 plus 10. I want the result. I might have a web page where the box is there, text box is there, where I will enter 3. Then another checkbox I will write 5. In between plus is there. Then I want to calculate. You might have a calculate button. If you press calculate button, what happens? You should take 3 from the first checkbox, from text box. Second text box 5 should be taken. And finally, we should add it to 3 plus 5. Then we should display the result 8. But how this is done? To do that, we can't use HTML. We need a programming language. So the most popular programming language used on the client side, executed on the browser, is JavaScript. So that means when you click on calculate button, that is an hyperlink. Immediately a JavaScript function add function may be executed, which will add 3 plus 5 and give the result. So the point is, link can be instruction to the browser, or it can be instruction to the browser to execute a function. Need not be JavaScript, any program function. So a function written using any program. So the point here is, this is how the types of links can be. So be careful when using link. So link means one HTML pointing to not another HTML. So one link, one HTML pointed to external site, or pages or resources within the current site, places within the current page, or locations on another page, or instruction to execute a program. Instruction to execute a program. So this is example for different link destinations. So one is given here, links to external site, links to resource. What I gave right now example. So the same thing, this is one below given here is open annoying pop-up. So this is what, so if you see this, okay, this will, when you click on see this, it will execute a JavaScript function whose name of the function is open annoying pop-up. Okay, this is you should have written a JavaScript function in your code. So when you click on see this, so this function, which is a JavaScript, so that is the reason, see in href, simply function name is not given, because browser should know which language should I use. So by seeing this JavaScript, it will come to know that I should execute a JavaScript whose function name is open annoying pop-up, which is a user defined. User has written this function. That means the programmer who has created a web page has written this function that will be executed. And as I told you previously, when you click on something, you can do what? So when you click, you want to open a mail, at that time what happens? So there may be some person at somewhere.com. So when you click on someone, so it will open a email link, because you have given the protocol. See the first field here. When we see here, the protocol clearly says it is HTTP, but right now it says that always keep that in a URL. The first part is the mail, is the protocol. So if it say HTTP, hypertext transfer protocol, it can be FTP, or it can be a mail protocol, means you can use mail to. So naturally, when you click on the link, so a mail client will be opened with this link to this destination. Okay. And naturally, not necessary that it should be a mail itself. Sometimes you call these days, we make a call. Okay, audio conferencing or video conferencing, we can make a video call using your browser or a mobile phone. We are not speaking about landline or mobile telephone calls. I want to make a call. So you can have a link like this. When you click on toll free, so note the point that we have used here, the protocol is TEL. That means it will make a telephone call to this number. So these are different link destinations. So now one more guidance is link test is, so in the earlier days, we used to have a web page where you used to specify the label as click here, but these days it is not a good term to say that. So link label should be descriptive enough. Label that you give to the link should be descriptive, that should clearly tell the user what will happen if you invoke that link. Like you want to give a better, like race results or see race results. So that means if we give a description like this, so user will come to know if I want to see the results, so I should click on link. Okay. So you may have a VTU website where you might have a link. Simply results, if you say, that may not be, that may be descriptive, but still not descriptive. So if a link in VTU website say, see, all six semester results. So immediately, sixth semester result will come to know, result has arrived, you will click it. That means, see all six semester results, link is more descriptive than see result, which is generally result. Okay, always note the link. Instead of that, simply video says, simply click here, that is less descriptive. The student or a user visiting VTU may not know what will happen. Only after clicking it, it will take the result, then he will come to know. So that's why always link text should be what? A descriptive text. Okay. And of course, I told you about absolute URL, absolute referencing, and the next is relative referencing. So I will go to first is absolute referencing. When I referencing a page or resources on an external site, absolute reference is required. That means you are referring to a resource, a image, a HTML file, a video, a audio, a animation present on some other website. Okay, some other website. You may wonder what is a website and what is a web page. Okay, website actually refers to a collection of web page with a given domain name which is stored on some machine which runs a server program. For example, sjctac.in is a website. sjctac.in, which is a domain name which we have bought it. So now we have hosted some server web hosting company, we have given it. So that hosting company has reserved some storage for us. We have developed all the web pages, probably 200 web pages, images and other things. We have uploaded to that folder. So on the web server like Apache or IIS is running on that. So and anyone request it, that Apache or IIS server will fetch our documents like isc.html, csc.html or index.html, that web pages are transferred from it. So that is a website. So the point here is absolute reference is used to refer to an external site. So SJCIT, so want to know VTU rules and guidelines. I might have in sjctac.in, see VTU rules and guidelines. I might have a link. Now, when you want to see VTU rules and guidelines, my SJCIT website may have a hyperlink that may point to VTU website. So the point is, I can't use a relative reference here. I should use an absolute reference. That means, see VTU rules and regulation. What should be H reference? H reference should be http:/vtu.ac.in/guidelines.pdf or guidelines.html. So that is an absolute. Always note that in absolute reference, the URL, the first part is a protocol telling whether which protocol should be HTTP. It need not be HTTP, as I told you, it can be mail to, it can be FTP, any Gopher, news. You want to point to, there is a protocol known as news also. So it can be news. There are many protocol fields. Okay. Next, apart from protocol first field, I told you if you want to link SJCT to VTU site, then what should I do? See VTU guidelines, link can be HTTP. Next is what? Domain name, which is www.vtu.ac.in. Then any path. So in that vtu.ac.in, I may have resource folder, RESOURC. In resource, I will give a slash and then I will give guidelines.pdf or guidelines.html. So path should follow. First is protocol, domain name, path, the actual name of the file or resource name should be specified next. So this is how absolute reference is used. So when you are referring, when a page or a resource is referring to a resource present on an external site, we should use absolute reference. So this is what an absolute reference is all about. Okay, still relative addressing is there. So I will go to that in the next class. So today I will stop this. Before that, let me take the attendance. So anyway, I downloaded. The point here is, so if you have any doubts, you can ask. So everything visible, audio and screens is visible or not. So how about the performance with Google, Microsoft Teams? You people should speak out. But I don't know how many, whether there is a disturbance, lag in audio, video, or in the screen sharing, any problem if you are encountering. So you can unmute. Some of you can unmute and speak. If you have doubts, any regarding topics also you can ask. No doubts? No disturbance? Huh? So are you there or not? So I will unmute and ask. Oh, Neha. You unmute and speak. Hello?
Sometimes the screen will not be visible properly, sir.
See, the point here is, many of you may be finding problems. The problem is everywhere. You use Zoom meeting also, it will be there. The problem is with internet connection. So people having poor internet connection and using mobile phone, you may find it difficult. Okay. So that's why you people should sit in a proper location. And if you have a broadband connection, better if you have a broadband connection, and better see the video conferencing or see Google Teams, log into the class using laptop or a desktop computer. That is my request. Okay. Which I can't, which is beyond my control. Okay, you use Google Meet or you use Teams, so the performance is good, but the point here is depends on internet connection. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So, any doubts? Anyone? Any doubts? See, attendance. One more thing, attendance is important. I will say here attendance is recorded, and I don't know how many of you are there. You are using Google Microsoft Teams. The video can be downloaded. I don't know whether you are downloading it. The video of the class is available in Google. I don't know whether it is available in, it can be downloaded using your mobile app. But if you have installed on desktop or laptop, Microsoft Teams, you can download the class video. Okay. And also in the resources file section, I have uploaded the source code. So source code in zip format. So you can unzip and use the all the folders, all chapter files will be there. That is needed for my coming classes. I'll be using that. Okay. So because coding, so programming, to study the programming, those files are needed. So all of you download that. So and open that in your laptop or desktop. So in the many coming classes and even lab session, I want you people to log in using your laptop or desktop. So now my question, one more important question is, how many of you are attending the classes using mobile? I think everyone?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, how many of you are using, forget, majority may be using mobile. How many of you are attending the classes using laptop or desktop?
I'm using, sir.
Raunak Raj Dubey,
Me too,
Neha.
sir.
Using, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
So here, you better, you can type in the chat window, you can type, okay, just want to have a survey that, you just tap, with your name, you can tap using laptop, using mobile. Everyone can type a message so that I will be clear. You can type a message there. How many of you are using laptop? You can type using laptop, using desktop, or using mobile.
It says only owners can send messages to this channel.
I have set the permission. Anyway, I will enable the chat in the next class. You can do it. Okay. So anyway, thank you. I will conclude the class. So in the next class, next week, we will try to, and I'm not sure whether to take the lab can be easily done. So whatever I do in the class, more than a regular class, online class, especially lab like web programming can be taught easily. There's no problem with me. I will see. Anyway, tomorrow, whether the class is there, you go through the Teams. I will send the link and timings if there is a class. Okay? Thank you.